Today on Legends of Rod and Reel, we're off to the Rocky Mountain state of Colorado.
Got a nice rainbow on here.
To fish with a guy named Trapper Rudd.
Big leopard spots on him.
If fly fishing takes you to the world's pretty places, Trapper Rudd just might be the ultimate fishing guide. Plus, we find out what makes Trapper one of the best fly anglers in the country.
Got it.
All that and more today on Legends of Rod and Reel.
All who seek fish are not created equal. Some anglers who ply the waters possess a passion unbridled, with catching skills unmatched. With all fish, they see eye to eye. They are the Legends of Rod and Reel.
Way up there, somewhere on a lonely Colorado peak, magic happens. Warm sun meets cold snow, and that which trickles down becomes just what we dream of.
It's overwhelming. It's absolutely overwhelming.
Moving water speaks.
It talks to you. You know, the rivers, the bodies of water talk to you.
And long ago, Trapper Rudd vowed to listen.
And when you start looking through the water, you know, your mind can wander and imagine. You know, it's kind of Zen fishing. You know, when you're nymphing, a lot of times you just got to go Zen. And you have to almost psychically will a fish to come up and eat that fly.
This 45-year-old angler is to the trout fishing world what a fishy take is to an angler's heart.
That's a nice big chunky rainbow.
In a sentence, Trapper is a heart-pounding, fly-casting, fish-hooking shot of adrenaline. Odds are, if you fish the western states, you've met Trapper Rudd.
That's a chunky guy.
If not, you should. His fishing buddies will tell you why.
He lives in the moment. He wants to do the things now. Go here, go there, fish. Just live life to its fullest.
Trapper's been a fishing guide as long as anyone can remember. He owns one of Colorado's most popular fly fishing shops, and Trapper Rudd earned the reputation as one of the most prominent international fishermen. Even as a kid, Trapper felt compelled to wander. Traveled all over Colorado, exploring every piece of moving water he could find.
I think some people in this world are just kind of born with a natural wanderlust, and I've always had it.
Now, a few years older, and a few more fish in life's creel,
There's a nice wild brown.
Trap's expanded his boundaries.
I love that.
He's thrown false casts on more international water than just about any fisherman around.
I mean, I can't look at a pothole after it's rained and wonder, there might be a fish in there, you know? And so there's a lot of water around the world, and, you know, there's something innate, you know, that makes me want to wander, find the water, see what kind of fish are in there, hopefully catch something, bag that in the memory bank for experience and draw on it later.
That passion drives Trapper Rudd.
Easier than doing it in flip-flops.
Even if it's right off the end of a sandstone cliff in search of hidden water. There, he finds himself immersed in what he knows.
Oh, God. Not even 2 inches below the surface before he took it. This is a real nice cutthroat, too. What a great-looking fish. Wow. It's some kind of drug. You know, I refer to it as the grand obsession. It's the grand obsession. That's a nice cutthroat. Woo!
Next, magical water always puts an angler to the test.
Oh, did you see that refusal?
So what are their secrets? Trapper Rudd reveals one of his best.
Guy was just sitting here on the flat.
Stay tuned.
Legends of Rod and Reel is presented by Rapala, your best shot at a world record. Welcome back to Legends of Rod and Reel.
Trapper Rudd considers himself a fisherman who refuses to let the world pass by.
That little dinky little thing right there is going to have some monster fish in it.
Around home, Trap travels to places where the old fence lines end and Colorado's wide open begins.
Let's go do it. A lot of guys, I think, make the mistake of just kind of charging up to the water, and sometimes you'll find these fish literally a foot or two off the bank, just kind of in cruising mode, especially on the still water. And if you're stealthy enough and you kind of come up with a little observation prior to fishing it, I think your success ratio goes way, way up. No phones allowed on the water. Got to stay incommunicado when you're in a water conference.
From flip-flops to wading boots, Trapper transitions from traveler to fisherman.
Thankfully, my kids showed me how to tie my shoes. Some of the stuff works well in the but as you can see, it's pretty small stuff.
To watch Trap work a piece of water is to better understand what makes this guy tick.
All right, he just spotted a nice fish. I think he just spotted me. Literally right on his head. There he goes. Oh, he ate it. He just wheeled right around on it, like in a complete circle. That was cool. I think the single most important thing about it is not catching. Oh, God bless it. He had to fly. God dang it. Oh, did you see that refusal? You know, if you're not catching, you need to be scratching your head and going, why am I not catching? We're just going to keep working our way up this thing and hope maybe we get another shot at a big dude. Fishing, it's always like chess going on up here. It's move, counter move. Move, counter move. You know, and sometimes you get the check. Oh, man. He ate it. Sometimes the fish gets the checkmate.
Just why Trapper spends a lot of time watching water. He studies, and then he digs into his bug boxes to find just the right fly.
Take out the fly of choice.
Trapper lives by an unwritten rule.
If you spot him, you got him.
His own form of confidence.
Fish. Decent. Yeah. This is always the danger when they're down below you like this.
When all comes together, Trap smiles.
When I got a fish in my hands, to me that fish is an individual. You know, his spots are different. Everything about that fish is different, whether it's a redfish, a brown trout, snook, rainbow trout, you name it, bonefish. They all have their own fingerprint. And if you really take a moment to observe that fingerprint, you realize, hey, I've got an individual here. Wild Colorado River rainbow. Beautiful color. See you, buddy. All right. Getting late in the day. Had a couple fish. Always a good thing. Go home with big smiles.
It's really overrated. I mean, I hate that. See, he gives me plastic cup. Crappy coffee. I mean, even make coffee.
Up next, Trapper's friends take over the clubhouse, the spot where fishtails led Trapper far beyond Colorado.
There he is.
And we'll continue with more fish catching action as only a legend can deliver.
Gorgeous fish.
But first, here's one of Trapper's legendary fly fishing secrets.
I love catching fish, and I also love releasing fish quickly and safely. One of the things that you can do to care for fish is to keep an eye on the water temperatures. You know, trout have a kind of an optimum range of between 55 and 65 degrees. Sometimes the rivers can get warmer than that. And if you're fighting a fish and it's in warm water, that trout's going to build up a lot more lactic acid in its body than it normally would, just like we would if we were to run a marathon. So if you see those water temperatures getting into the high 60s, do what my guides do. Hang up the rods for a while and wait for those temperatures to cool down. You'll be a better angler.
You're watching Legends of Rod and Reel.
At 8,700 feet, the mountain town of Silverhorn sits tucked into a nook of Colorado Summit County.
Good morning, Summit County, Crystal 90.
Around here, first light of day comes most often through Trapper Rudd's front window.
Still above Spring Creek Road?
Trapper owns Cutthroat Anglers, a Colorado fly shop with a bit of an attitude.
Hey.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good, how you doing?
Call it, in 2 words, laid back.
All in at 2022 is good.
Trap's business of bugs attracts a morning hatch of fishermen, all of them hungry to learn what Trap already seems to know.
No, just, and this is the whole
Fishy secrets of Rocky Mountain trout. The morning rush at the clubhouse only lasts so long. Guides and clients quickly wander off to find moving water.
You know, one of the coolest aspects of having a fly shop is when people come in the morning, they're in a good mood. They're smiling. They know they're going fishing.
One guy always seems to lag behind. Summit County Sheriff John Miner tends to be a bit of a constant around Trap's shop.
I get to hang out with Trap. Trap, what fly do I use? What do I fish? Do this, do that. Don't break your wrist. You know.
You see, he gives me plastic cup, crappy coffee, but that's what you get when you fish with Trapper. Low budget, good fish.
One of Trapper's longtime fishing buddies, the sheriff also happens to be one of his biggest fans.
I think it's cool that the fact that, you know, your passion is your job.
Trapper Rudd long ago earned a bit of a reputation around these parts.
Good morning, it's 8:38. I'm Tom Fricke.
Yes, word of Trapper Rudd travels.
And now today's fishing report, the best.
His passion for fly fishing is probably unmatched in anybody else that I've ever seen. And that passion rubs off.
A passion that runs right out Trapper's back door.
You know, for being right in the center of a town, you just can't believe that. It's so incredible.
Trap shop sits along the banks of the Blue River.
It's really neat, you know, having such gin clear water. I mean, just looking right here, you can see a couple of fish stacked up right over here on the edge. And it's a perfect example of, you can see these deep red stripes that these fish get in the blue. The blue is kind of unique that, you know, we did a lot of river restoration in here over the last several years and made this more of a habitat for fish. Not just a recreational place for anglers, but an actual habitat for fish. Try to get some of that natural recruitment, place for these fish to spawn, to grow, to live, and subsequently people get to angle for them. You know, knowing that you had a hand in something that has always been here, that will probably always be long after I'm gone. It's a good feeling.
But preservation is only part of Trap's passion.
I'm currently filling up my 3rd passport, and I've been on a lot of continents, fished a lot of places. Africa, New Zealand, Indonesia, South Pacific, all over Central America, South America, Canada, you name it.
Trapper considers himself a bit of a modern-day Huck Finn, part explorer, part kid. The guy who isn't afraid to fish the hotel fountain.
Being in Indonesia when the tsunami hit was definitely one of the more dramatic of the trips that I've experienced. And it was just a complete, uncharted, unexplored territory. And to be the first anglers to be able to access this magnificent fishery, I mean, that kind of will always stick with you. I'm so fortunate to have the wife that I have. Melissa is, you know, it's total and complete unconditional love. And she knows that this is what I do. And my children know that this is what Daddy does. And it's a part of my soul. It's a part of my fiber, my being. This is how we make our living. And they like to see me happy. I like to be happy. I like to make them happy. And when Daddy's fishing, everybody's happy.
Still to come on Legends of Rod and Reel, trappers on the hunt for a monster trout. You'll see why we call him a legend. But first, if you want some local advice on catching fish, Trapper's got it.
Hey, you know, one of the things that people always ask me is, what are they biting on? My best advice is local information. Take a little bit of time, seek out those local fly shops, seek out those local baits. No matter what kind of fishing you're doing, take the time to talk to the shop staff, talk to the guide service. They might have the flies that you're going to need for that river at that particular time. You might be able to get them from wherever you're from, but they may not translate well to the river you want to fish. So take a couple extra minutes, get some local information. You'll probably catch a lot more fish.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Falcon Graphite Rods, made in the USA. Now back to more Legends of Rod and Reel.
If fly fishing takes you to the world's pretty places, Trapper Rudd might be fishing's ultimate guide.
Look at the osprey. He's fishing too.
Trap seems to have endless access to Colorado's fishiest nooks and crannies.
That's right.
Thing is, he's not into keeping secrets.
You know, I think it's always best to share it with a pal. Because when you see your pals hooked up, and they're all happy, and they're wetting their waders, they're so happy. Man, that's good stuff. Nicely done.
Good stuff Trap likes to share with his closest trout bum buddy.
Yep. Nice. Nice fish.
That's a beautiful cutthroat. Oh, man.
Trapper and Roscoe find every excuse to sneak out of work to play.
There it is.
Nice.
Woo. Very nice.
Look at the color on this guy.
Why? Every time I'm with him, I learn something new, some new trick, some new technique, just presentation.
Awesome.
Ready? And it's become, with me and fishing, it's become more like hunting.
Beautiful fish.
Yeah.
Yep. Well done.
Roscoe's been on some of Trapper's wildest excursions around the planet.
He's got a lot of connections, and he knows a lot of people, and he's been a lot of places, and that's what gets him his exposure.
Well, buddy, here we are again.
Everywhere he goes, from Florida, from the Caribbean. We're in the middle of nowhere. He recognized somebody in the Singapore airport, I think it was. It's just like halfway across the world.
But back on small Colorado water, still their favorite spot.
Opens up his box, some uncanny nature, and he picks the fly and he puts it out there, and 9 times out of 10 that fish is going to move for that fly.
This is a little mayfly imitation. Kind of does 2 things at once. Kind of can be fished as an emerger or down deep as a nymph. You don't just look at the surface, you look deep. You know, you got to look 3-dimensionally. You got to train your mind to be a 3-dimensional mind, not just see the flat surface or the white water or the sleeper rocks or the riffles. You got to look through the water. Oh, got him. Oh, no way. Yep. No way. Big fish. No way. Oh, my God. He's right on that rock. Come off there. Oh. Oh. The fish was this big. Yeah, that was a monster. Happens to everybody. And that's what's cool about it. You know, they keep you down here, right here, humble. You know, they don't let you get way up here and big, you know. You gotta, you know, they win sometimes. That's the way it should be. That fish was so big, and we're fishing such tiny flies, he straightened out the hook.
In a miss, something to be learned.
Strong fish.
If at first you don't succeed,
Look at him, he's just cruising back and forth. All right, I can
Try again, Zach.
Let's try it again.
just cast again.
I think it's just confidence.
That confidence is what moves Trapper to succeed.
Got him. I got him.
Is it the same fish? Yeah, I think it is.
You know, if I'm landing a fish, I may not be joking around and smiling and laughing and giggling and hollering. It's because I'm working that fish. It's my passion to do the best job that I can do, landing that fish, releasing that fish.
What a strong fish. Holy. Yeah. Get that hook out of his face.
Take a moment, you know, to marvel over what you've just done. It's incredible. And then it's the thrill without the kill. You get to let them go and watch them swim away. And you know they're going to reproduce, they're going to be happy. Somebody else might have the joy of coming out and catching.
That's what it's about right there.
Nice
right?
spot, buddy.
It's indescribable. It's just indescribable. You know, to me, you know, you spot a fish like that, and you know, the planets come into alignment, the fish gods are smiling, the good juju is just flowing, everything comes together, and there's so many things that can go wrong. It's just so nice when it all comes together. Oh, man. Be thinking about that fish for a long time to come.
Well,
Let's go do another one.
until the next one bites anyway.
There's usually a few fish hanging out.
Yeah, at the bottom, right there.
Yep. The single most important thing is don't worry about the catching. That comes with time on the water. Just be there. That's the most important thing. Just being there.